Chapter 31. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After Chiyu completed the mission of eliminating the bandits, Orochimaru did not take Chiyu back to Konoha immediately, but took Chiyu to find the daimyo of the Land of Fields. However, Chiyu did not go with Orochimaru to meet the daimyo of the Land of Fields, but let Chiyu stay in the hotel to rest. Chiyu was lying on the bed thinking about Orochimaru going to meet the daimyo of the Land of Fields, in the future. The sound village created by Orochimaru after leaving Konoha seems to be in the Land of Fields. Orochimaru bribed the daimyo of the Land of Fields to establish the sound village in his country, but the sound village was not employed by the Land of Fields. In other words, the sound village is the sound village, and the Land of Fields is the Land of Fields, and the two have nothing to do with each other. Has Orochimaru hooked up with the daimyo of the Land of Fields at this point in time? Otherwise, how could Orochimaru succeed? It seems that he did not succeed, but he did successfully establish his own ninja village in the Land of Rice Fields, and successfully researched the forbidden technique of reincarnation without corpse, which is equivalent to obtaining eternal life. Looking at Orochimaru's life, most of it was successful, but later he was too obsessed with the Sharingan, which led to a crash. Even though he crashed, Orochimaru was still alive and well in the end. Orochimaru did not return home that night. And he returned to the hotel the next morning after Chiba woke up. Let's go back to Konoha. Chiyu and Orochimaru set out on their journey back to the village. After arriving at the village, Orochimaru first took Chiyu to hand in the task, and then met with Sarutobi Hiruzen. In the Hokage's office, Sarutobi Hiruzen smoked his pipe and said to Chiyu kindly, "Chiyu, the first mission after becoming a ninja is a sea-level mission, and you executed it very well." Chiyu bowed and said, "Thank you very much for the trust of Hokage and teacher Orochimaru." Sarutobi Hiruzen said with relief, "It's because of your own efforts." Orochimaru praised you very much, saying that you are extremely talented and work very hard in training. Thanks to the teaching of Orochimaru, if it weren't for Orochimaru, I wouldn't have become stronger so quickly. What Chiyu said is true. If it weren't for Orochimaru's teaching, Chiyu might still be practicing with twice the results for half the effort. It is so important to have a good teacher, which can help you avoid many detours. Orochimaru is indeed teaching him with all his heart. Although Chiyu is on guard against Orochimaru, he is really grateful to Orochimaru in his heart. Orochimaru's future obsession is the Sharingan. As long as Orochimaru doesn't want his Sharingan, there will be no conflict of interest between the two of them. Maybe in the future, Orochimaru will still be his teacher, and Chiyu will still be his disciple. In front of Sarutobi Hiruzen, Orochimaru did not hesitate to praise Chiyu. Chiyu is excellent in herself. Although it is her first mission, the plan she made when carrying out the mission and the implementation of the plan were all completed very well. Even some Chunin who have carried out many missions are not as good as Chiyu. Sarutobi Hiruzen took a sip of his pipe and sighed, "This is the first time I've heard you, Orochimaru, praise a ninja like this. It seems that you are very satisfied with your disciple, Chiyu." Orochimaru glanced at Chiyu and nodded with a smile, "I am indeed very satisfied." Sarutobi Hiruzen also smiled, then his eyes became serious, and he said to Orochimaru without avoiding Chiyu, "Orochimaru, the ninja world is about to be in turmoil now." Orochimaru said in a deep voice, "Are other ninja villages ready to move?" Sarutobi Hiruzen took out a map and spread it on the table, then began to analyze the situation. Yes, according to the intelligence sent back, on the border between Taki country and Fire country, ninjas from Iwagakure village appeared. On the border between Soup country and Fire country, ninjas from Kumogakure village appeared, not to mention Sand village. They have been looking for trouble with us on the border of Fire country from time to time. The current situation of Kurogakure is unclear, but I wrote to the Mizukage of Kurogakure several times, but I didn't get a reply. Orochimaru frowned slightly. So, now the Hidden Rock village and the Hidden Cloud village have begun to gradually test Konoha. If both sides do this, it is very likely that they have reached a cooperation. If the Hidden Sand village is added, then 3 of the 5 major ninja villages have already set their sights on Konoha. Sarutobi Hiruzen exhaled a puff of smoke in a depressed manner. Yes, so the situation is not optimistic. I originally wanted to form an alliance with the Hidden Mist village, but now it seems that there will be no result. It is good enough that the hidden mist village does not join them. Orochimaru looked at the markings on the map, pondered for a moment and asked, so what is the current situation? Is the intensity of the hidden rock village and the hidden cloud villages probing strong? Sarutobi Hiruzen shook his head. The intensity is not strong at present. They have not completely entered the border of our fire country, but according to this trend, the day when they enter the border of the fire country is not far away. Now they should just be testing our Konoha's attitude. I sent Tsukumo to garrison on the border between the land of Taki and the land of fire. I have also sent Jiraiya to the border between the land of hot water and the land of fire. He happened to be teaching Minato and training Minato directly on the battlefield. With them around, at least for the time being, we don't have to worry about the war starting immediately, but local frictions should start in the next 2 years. Sarutobi Hiruzen said word by word with a solemn expression. It has been only a few years since the end of the Second Ninja World War, and there have been signs of war, and this war is likely to be directly against our Konoha. The main reason for the outbreak of the First Ninja World War was the war between Konoha and the Hidden Cloud Village. Not long after the death of Hashirama Senju, the First Ninja World War broke out. The reason why the ninja world was peaceful before was because of the deterrent power of the ninja god Hashirama Senju. After Hashirama Senju died, the only source of deterrence was gone, and the Hidden Cloud Village took the lead in declaring war on the Konoha village, and then other ninja villages also joined the war. The Second Ninja World War broke out because of unbalanced economic development. The economic gap between countries widened, and the militant forces of various countries rose up on the grounds of increasing fair privileges, and promoted the use of force to expand their territory. The Second Shinobi World War began. The main battlefields of these two wars were not the land of fire. Now it seems that the Third Shinobi World War is not far away. If the 4 major ninja villages target Konoha at the same time, then the land of fire will become the main battlefield. At that time, the land of fire, as the main battlefield, will inevitably suffer heavy losses. Orochimaru's expression was also a little grim. He looked at the map without saying a word, thinking. Chiyu was a little surprised when he heard the conversation between Sarutobi Hiruzen and Orochimaru. Is there already a sign of war now? But if you think about it carefully, it's time. From this point of view, the day when the Cloud Village ninja kidnaps Uzumaki Kushina is not far away. Chapter 32. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. In the Hokage's office, Sarutobi Hiruzen and Orochimaru were discussing the current situation in the ninja world, and Chiyu was listening on the side. Orochimaru thought for a moment and asked, so, teacher, are you going to send me to the river country to stop those sand village ninjas? Chiyu's heart skipped a beat when he heard what Orochimaru said. He really wanted to go to the battlefield for training, but definitely not now. If Uzumaki Kushina was attacked by the Cloud Village ninjas when he left Konoha, he wouldn't be able to make it in time even if he could fly. After all, he had to make sure that Uzumaki Kushina was safe before going to the battlefield, but what Sarutobi Hiruzen said next put Chiyu at ease. The Sand Village doesn't need to worry about them for now. The ninjas stationed at the border of the river country are enough to deal with them. In the next few days, Orochimaru, you will follow me to make plans and discuss how Konoha should deal with this situation. Orochimaru is first class in making strategies. During the Second Ninja World War, Orochimaru led the ninja troops and won many difficult battles. The current situation in Konoha is not optimistic. Orochimaru's strategic concept is what Konoha needs most now. Orochimaru nodded and agreed. I understand. Chiyu breathed a sigh of relief. It's good that she doesn't have to leave Konoha now. After Sarutobi Hiruzen and Orochimaru chatted for a while, Orochimaru took Chiyu out of the Hokage building. On the way, Orochimaru suddenly asked, Chiyu, you also heard what I said to the teacher just now. If the 4 major ninja villages attack Konoha at the same time, how do you think we can break the situation? Orochimaru asked too suddenly, which caught Chiyu off guard. Chiyu was not very clear about the details of the Third Ninja World War. Shinyu thought silently for a long time before speaking. It is nothing more than interests that can make the 4 major ninja villages unite to attack Konoha. No matter which ninja world war, it is all about interests. Since interests can make the Hidden Rock Village and the Hidden Cloud Village cooperate, then interests can also be used to make the 2 villages turn against each other. Orochimaru was quite satisfied with Shinyu's answer. then how to use interests to make the two villages turn against each other. Chinyu shook his head. I'm sorry, teacher Orochimaru, I don't know either. Chinyu really didn't know what interests to use to make the Hidden Rock Village and the Hidden Cloud Village turn against each other. First of all, Chinyu didn't know what interests Konoha could offer to make the Hidden Rock Village and the Hidden Cloud Village turn against each other. Secondly, the purpose of the cooperation between the Hidden Rock Village and the Hidden Cloud Village must be to plunder the rich resources of the Land of Fire. You can't say to the people of the Hidden Rock Village or the Hidden Cloud Village, let's cooperate and rob the resources of the other village together, right? They have already decided to plunder Konoha together, why should they give up their current partners and cooperate with you? In Chiyu's opinion, only after knowing the content of the cooperation between the Iwagakure village and the Kumogakure village, can they target it and tempt one of the ninja villages with greater benefits. Orochimaru didn't care about Chiyu's answer of I don't know. It was indeed a bit difficult for Chiyu to answer this question. Orochimaru said to Chiyu, I will be very busy in the future, and I won't be in the base every day. I will give you a day off today. Tomorrow I will take you to the Ryuchi cave, and then make the next training plan for you, and you will train by yourself. If there are any suitable tasks in the future, I will continue to help you take them, but you should also perform the tasks alone. Hearing that he could take a day off today, Chiyu unconsciously smiled. After Orochimaru took a look at Chiyu, he knew what Chiyu wanted to do. Go ahead. Teacher Orochimaru, I'll leave first. See you tomorrow. Chiyu waved goodbye to Orochimaru and ran forward impatiently. In front of Uzumaki Mito's mansion, Chiyu felt a little nervous and excited. It had been a month since she last saw Uzumaki Kushina. Chiyu knocked on the door of the mansion. Soon Chiyu heard a burst of very fast footsteps, obviously running. The door of the mansion opened. Chiyu only saw a touch of red, and then a person jumped on her. Chiyu hugged Uzumaki Kushina and rubbed the back of her head lovingly. Long time no see, Kushina. Uzumaki Kushina let go of Chiyu, pouted and punched Chiyu in the chest. Why did you take so long to see me? I thought you had forgotten me. Chiyu's expression froze. How come Uzumaki Kushina's strength is getting stronger and stronger? Chinyu touched her nose. How could I forget you? I will never forget you no matter who I forget. Because the task training assigned to me by Orochimaru is quite heavy, I have no time to come out. I also completed a task these 2 days, and Orochimaru gave me a day off. By the way, Kushina, how did you know that I came to find you? Uzumaki Kushina replied, Grandma Mito told me that Grandma Mito has a special ability that can sense every move within a large range through chakra. Chinyu immediately understood what the special ability of Uzumaki Mito that Uzumaki Kushina was talking about was. Kagura Heart Eye, one of the unique abilities of the Uzumaki clan. Uzumaki Kushina took Chinyu's hand and ran towards Uzumaki Mito's mansion. Grandma Mito misses you too, let's go see Grandma Mito together. Chinyu, who was pulled by Uzumaki Kushina, sighed imperceptibly. He didn't want to see Uzumaki Mito. He just wanted to go around alone with Uzumaki Kushina. Chinyu still met Uzumaki Mito. Compared to the Uzumaki Mito that Chiyu had seen before, the current Uzumaki Mito already looked like an old woman. Chiyu bowed and said, Mito-sama. Mito-sama looked at Chiyu kindly. Chiyu, who had already killed someone, now had a completely different temperament. With a sharp feeling, Mito-sama sighed, you have grown up, Chiyu. Chiyu said respectfully, in front of Mito-sama, I am just a child. Feeling the distance between Chiyu and her, Mito-sama sighed, Chiyu, you don't have to be so defensive against me. Chiyu, who lowered her head, frowned slightly, and still answered in a formulaic way, Mito-sama, you are the elder. Chiyu's meaning was very clear. Mito-sama was the elder, and he just respected him. Not on guard, Mito-sama shook his head helplessly. As the Jinchuriki of the Nine Tails, she had the ability to perceive good and evil, especially a keen perception of malice, because of the effect of the Nine Tails chakra. When Chinyu and she first met, although Chinyu acted almost impeccable, Uzumaki Mito could clearly sense Chinyu's defensiveness and alienation towards her. The same was true when she sensed it from Chinyu now. Chapter 33. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. Uzumaki Mito felt sad when she saw Chiyu's vigilance towards her. she had seen how Chiyu treated Uzumaki Kushina in the past few years. Uzumaki Mito was very pleased, but also helpless. She was pleased because Chiyu and Uzumaki Kushina had a very good relationship, but she was helpless because both Chiyu and Uzumaki Kushina seemed to only have each other. Chiyu had no other friends, and Uzumaki Kushina had no other friends either. Moreover, when Chiyu came to see her before, Chiyu had already moved to a new house, and because Sarutobi Hiruzen had visited Chiyu at the Konoha Ninja Hospital, the villagers of Konoha no longer openly ridiculed Chiyu, so Uzumaki Mito asked Chiyu, "Chiyu, do you feel a sense of belonging to Konoha now?" Chiyu's answer was, "My belonging will always be to Konoha," but Uzumaki Mito could clearly feel that Chiyu was lying, and she could also feel Chiyu's malice towards Konoha. It was then that Uzumaki Mito realized that Chiyu had always hated Konoha in her heart. That's right, because of the persecution of the Uchiha clan, she almost died in the womb. Her parents were forced to defect from Konoha and were hunted down by the Umbu. After her parents died, she was not only not recognized by the Uchiha clan after returning to Konoha, but also suffered cold eyes. How could she not hate Konoha? Chiyu has been disguising himself. He has been disguising himself since he returned to Konoha at the age of 4, and even now, he is still disguising himself. Chiyu has been under pressure and difficulties that he shouldn't have at his age. Uzumaki Mito wanted to help Chiyu, but she was powerless. On one side are her husband's clansmen, and on the other side is the Konoha village founded by her husband. Uzumaki Mito really wanted to tell Chiyu not to hate Konoha. But she couldn't say this, and she was not qualified to say it to Chiyu. Uzumaki Kushina seemed to sense that something was wrong with the atmosphere, and she pulled on Uzumaki Mito's sleeve. "Grandma Mito, what's wrong?" Uzumaki Mito said with a forced smile. "It's nothing, Kushina, I want to talk to Chiba alone, is that okay?" The innocent Uzumaki Kushina agreed directly, "Of course." Just as Uzumaki Kushina was about to leave, Chiba suddenly grabbed Uzumaki Kushina's hand and said to Uzumaki Mito, "Mito-sama, the homework assigned to me by Orochimaru is quite heavy. I will just talk to Kushina for a few minutes and then leave." Chiba felt that it would be very troublesome for Uzumaki Mito to talk to him alone. Chiba also felt that there was nothing to talk about with Uzumaki Mito. Uzumaki Mito wanted Uzumaki Kushina to become the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki, so he and Uzumaki Mito were naturally on opposite sides. No matter how thick-skinned Uzumaki Kushina is now, she also found that there seemed to be a problem between Chiba and Uzumaki Mito. Uzumaki Kushina, who was caught in the middle, was a little embarrassed. "Chiba, Mito grandma." Uzumaki Mito sighed and said, "Chiyu, I don't want to talk to you alone as a member of Konoha, but I want to talk to you as Kushina's elder. Is that not okay?" Chiyu frowned slightly and glanced at Uzumaki Kushina. Seeing the embarrassed expression on Uzumaki Kushina's face, Chiyu frowned even tighter. After Chiyu released Uzumaki Kushina's hand, she said, "I understand, Kushina, you go out and wait for me first. I will talk to Mito-sama and come out to find you soon." After Uzumaki Kushina left, Chiyu looked at Uzumaki Mito and asked, "Mito-sama, what do you want to talk to me about?" Uzumaki Mito said in a gentle voice, "Chiyu, you are a member of my husband's clan, and I am also your elder." Chiyu lowered her head slightly, her voice still distant, "Mito-sama, I don't have a surname." Uzumaki Mito smiled bitterly, "No surname? You don't admit that you are a descendant of the Senju clan?" Uzumaki Mito shook his head helplessly, and then said, "Shenyu, I am relieved to leave Kushina to you in the future." Hearing what Uzumaki Mito said, Chiyu raised his head and looked at Uzumaki Mito again. Uzumaki Mito's mouth curled up with a bitter look. It seems that only Uzumaki Kushina can make Chiyu reveal his true feelings, but this also shows that Uzumaki Kushina is very important to Chiyu. Uzumaki Mito continued, "Almost all of us in the Uzumaki clan have special physiques, born with huge chakras and strong vitality, and what I am going to tell you next is the secret of Konoha." When Uzumaki Mito was about to continue speaking, she suddenly sensed the growing malice rising from Chiyu. Although Chiyu's expression did not change, Uzumaki Mito was certain that Chiyu's malice was directed at her. Uzumaki Mito was very confused. If she had said what she was going to say next, she would have understood that Chiyu would have malice towards her, but she hadn't said anything yet, so why did Chiyu suddenly have such strong malice towards her? Uzumaki Mito's eyes narrowed. Could it be that, what does Chiyu know? Of course Chiyu knows Uzumaki Mito first told him about the physique of the Uzumaki clan, and then said it was the secret of Konoha. What Uzumaki Mito is going to tell him next is most likely about the nine-tailed Jinchuriki. Chiyu noticed that Uzumaki Mito was looking at him. Chiyu's heart skipped a beat. Did Uzumaki Mito see something? That shouldn't be the case, he has always managed his expression very well. Chiyu suddenly shuddered, his expression a little ugly. He forgot something very important. The ability that being the nine-tailed Jinchuriki brings to Uzumaki Mito, sense malice. No wonder Uzumaki Mito said just now that there was no need to be so defensive against her. It turned out that he sensed his defense against her. It's really a troublesome ability. In that case, his disguise is completely useless to Uzumaki Mito. Chiyu let out a long breath and calmed himself down. Since he couldn't disguise himself in front of Uzumaki Mito, there was no need to disguise himself anymore. Sensing the change in Chiba's attitude, Uzumaki Mito looked into Chiba's eyes seriously and said, "Sure enough, Chiba, you know about the nine-tails Jinchuriki, and you also know why Kushina came to Konoha, right?" "Mito-sama, I have no way of knowing." Chiyu, who was no longer pretending, did not say everything openly. It was one thing for Uzumaki Mito to guess it, but it was another thing for Chiyu to say it herself. Uzumaki Mito frowned slightly. "Yes, you have no way of knowing, but you just know it. So is your malice towards me because Konoha wants Kushina to become the Jinchuriki?" Chiyu answered in a formulaic way, "Mito-sama, this is Konoha's decision, and I have no right to ask or interfere." Uzumaki Mito felt that it was really tiring to talk to Chiyu. This kid was really stubborn. Chapter 34. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Uzumaki Mito is very tired now. Chiyu is too cunning. He has obviously discovered that she knows his disguise and his attitude has completely changed, but he still speaks without any leaks. Uzumaki Mito said helplessly, "Chiyu, can't we talk frankly? No third person will know about my conversation with you today. Since you have ill intentions towards me because of Kushina's matter, you can tell me what you think. My current identity is just Kushina's elder, your elder." Chiyu tilted his head slightly, looked at Uzumaki Mito calmly and said, "Mito-sama, as Kushina's elder, you didn't ask Kushina if she was willing to become a Jinchuriki, so do my thoughts matter? No matter what I think, Kushina will still replace you and become Konoha's nine-tails Jinchuriki, right? So, does it make sense?" Uzumaki Mito's eyes flickered. It was indeed as Chiba said, Uzumaki Kushina becoming the nine-tails Jinchuriki was almost a fait accompli, so no matter Chiba's idea or Uzumaki Kushina's idea, it was meaningless. But, Uzumaki Mito looked at Chiyu with burning eyes and said seriously, "It is meaningful, because your idea is meaningful to Kushina." Chiyu stared at Uzumaki Mito's eyes for a long time in silence, and finally said, "I hope Kushina can be happy forever." Chiyu's answer was already very clear. Becoming a Jinchuriki is accompanied by a lifetime of pain and loneliness. Uzumaki Mito was fine, because she was the wife of the first generation of Hokage, and she mastered a powerful sealing technique, so the nine-tails had hardly ever lost control. The Jinchuriki of other ninja villages had a very bad life. The Jinchuriki will fight with the tailed beast in the body for the body, and the process is very painful, and if the powerful power of the Jinchuriki gets out of control, it will cause innocent people to sacrifice, which will make people more and more afraid of the Jinchuriki and more disgusted. The most painful thing is when the tailed beast is extracted. The Jinchuriki and the tailed beast are in a life-and-death relationship. If the tailed beast is extracted from the body, the Jinchuriki will definitely die. The feeling of being extracted from the Jinchuriki is extremely painful, and it is a kind of pain that can tear the soul apart. Chiba replied that she hoped Uzumaki Kushina would always be happy, which was equivalent to answering Uzumaki Mito, who disagreed. Uzumaki Mito sighed. But, becoming a Jinchuriki is Kushina's destiny. Chiyu suddenly felt depressed for no reason. It's just because Kushina is weak and has no choice, so she was given the nice-sounding name of fate to let her accept it. I think Mito-sama knows better than me that fate is just imposed on Kushina. Please don't talk to me about fate, Mito-sama. Uzumaki Mito stared at Chiyu and asked, "Since you want Kushina to be happy all the time, do you want to change this result?" Chiyu lowered her head slightly again. "I'm just an ordinary ninja in Konoha. These things are not for me to consider." Hokage-sama and the others will naturally arrange them properly. Uzumaki, Mito has a headache now, it started again, can't we have a good chat? Uzumaki Mito also knew that there was no point in chatting anymore, moreover, Chiyu would not let down his guard against her, and Uzumaki Mito already knew the reason is Uzumaki Kushina. As long as Uzumaki Kushina is the second Nine-Tails Jinchuriki, Chiyu will never open her heart. Similarly, she will not open her heart to Konoha, even hostile to Konoha. Uzumaki Mito finally asked Chiba a question. Chiba, Konoha, is it important? Chiyu threw the question to Uzumaki Mito. Mito. Sama, is Kushina important? Uzumaki Mito's expression was a little melancholy. Is Uzumaki Kushina important to her? Of course she is, but compared to Konoha? Konoha is more important. If Uzumaki Mito's answer is like this, then Chiyu's answer is very obvious. Chiyu has things that are more important than Konoha, perhaps, in Chiyu's heart, Konoha is not important, because in Chiyu's eyes, Uzumaki Kushina is not important to her. Uzumaki Mito seemed a little tired, and her voice was a little lower. Chiyu, I love Kushina very much. Whether you believe it or not, I sincerely hope that you can live a good life in Konoha. Chiyu bowed and said, Mito-sama, of course I believe that you love Kushina very much. After all, you are Kushina's only relative. Also, please rest assured, Mito-sama, I am living well in Konoha, and I have always been grateful to Konoha. Uzumaki Mito was really tired now, and waved his hand. That's good, go ahead, Kushina has been looking forward to your visit every day while you were away, I won't take up your time. Chiyu turned and left the room. When Uzumaki Mito saw Chiyu close the door and leave, he let out a long sigh. Chiyu is obviously a little kid, but his words are no different from those of some old foxes, except for the time when Chiyu said becoming a Jinchuriki is Kushina's destiny. There was an obvious fluctuation in his emotions, but everything else was flawless and no flaws could be found. What a little fox. Uzumaki Mito smiled. This smile was because he was angry with Chiyu, but it was also an acknowledgement of Chiyu. Chiyu saw Uzumaki Kushina squatting on the ground not far from the door, looking at something. Chiyu walked to Kushina Uzumaki's side and squatted down, smiling and asked, What are you looking at? So absorbed in it, Kushina Uzumaki pointed her finger at the floor, where a small wild flower grew between the cracks in the floor. Senju, look, flowers can grow in such a place. They look much more beautiful than other flowers. Looking at the flowers growing between the cracks in the floor, Chiyu's eyes flickered. Yes, it's really amazing. They are so full of vitality. Flowers can bloom in such an environment. How can they not be beautiful? Just as Chiyu was sighing, Kushina Uzumaki had already climbed onto Chiyu's back, pointing outside the mansion and said excitedly, but now is not the time to appreciate. Time waits for no one, let's set off quickly. Senju smiled and carried Uzumaki Kushina on his back, tightening her legs. Okay. Let's go, you always treated me to meals in the past, and today I got my first mission commission, I'll treat you to a delicious meal. Generally speaking, when a genin goes on a mission with a teacher, a portion of the mission remuneration must be given to the teacher, but Orochimaru didn't ask for Chinyu's remuneration, and let Chinyu take the mission remuneration himself. This time, the sea-level mission remuneration was as much as 60,000 taels, which all went into Chinyu's pocket. Uzumaki Kushina, who was on Chinyu's back, raised her little fist. Then I must eat a lot. No problem. Chiba carried Uzumaki Kushina on her back and left Uzumaki Mito's mansion with a happy pace. Chapter 37. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. Uchiha Masaki and Uchiha Fugaku returned to the mansion. The father and son did not fall asleep, but sat facing each other in the room in silence. After a long time, Uchiha Masaki finally asked, What do you think about Chiba, Fugaku? Uchiha Fugaku looked up at his old father and asked, Father, are you asking me about Chiba's strength, or about something else? Uchiha Masaki said, Then tell me everything. Uchiha Fugaku said in a deep voice, Actually, I don't know much about Chiba. When he came to the ninja school, I had already studied in the ninja school for 2 years, but I have heard something about him. After all, he is considered a celebrity in the ninja school, because he is not recognized by our Uchiha clan. he has always been the target of other people's resentment towards the Uchiha. In his first year at the ninja school, he was often bullied. After the second year, he was rarely bullied. In his class, there was a genius named Namikaze Minato, who was accepted as a disciple by Lord Jiraiya, one of the three ninjas, and Chiba is second only to the genius Namikaze Minato. Only then, because he couldn't beat Chiyu, he changed to verbal abuse, but no matter how bad the other party said, there was no news of Chiyu fighting with others, and he always let others abuse him. After listening to Uchiha Fugaku's words, Uchiha Masaki frowned and said, he obviously has the ability but chooses to let others abuse him. Chiyu is very patient. Uchiha Fugaku continued, but once, he hit someone, and it was a big deal. 3 years after he came to the ninja school, a transfer student joined Chiyu's class level, and soon after, something happened in the ninja school. The transfer student was bullied and caused trouble because of her long red hair, but because of her strong strength, she defeated all those who caused trouble to her. Later, I heard that a student in the same class as Chiyu, in order to retaliate against the transfer student, found her brother who was a genin, and Chiyu almost cut off the other party's limbs. I also heard that it happened that Lord Jiraiya and Lady Tsunade returned to the village that day and ran into it, so they stopped Chiyu. Uchiha Masaki frowned more and more as he listened. He asked Uchiha Fugaku about the time when the incident happened. After thinking about it, Uchiha Masaki found out that a few days after this incident, Chiyu handed over the thunder-breathing ninjutsu to Konoha. In order to calm this matter, did he give the ninjutsu to Sarutobi Hiruzen? Uchiha Masaki asked. Fugaku, is there anything else? Uchiha Fugaku nodded. Yes, I also heard that Namikaze Minato was there that day, and it seems that he was defeated by Chiba. Not long after that, Namikaze Minato became Jiraiya's apprentice. At the same time, every time at school, Namikaze Minato would take the initiative to fight Chiba, but since then, Minato Namikaze has never defeated Chiba. Uchiha Masaki was shocked and said, you mean, Minato Namikaze has been training with Jiraiya, but has never defeated Chiba? Uchiha Fugaku said with certainty, that's right, because the two of them fought only that year. After that year, Minato Namikaze graduated early and followed Master Jiraiya to go out for training. Even in that last battle, Minato Namikaze still couldn't defeat Chiba. Uchiha Masaki was really shocked now. Orochimaru accepted Chiba as his disciple a month ago. In other words, Minato Namikaze, who was a disciple of Jiraiya, one of the three ninjas, could not defeat Chiba even though he accepted Jiraiya's teachings, and Chiba at that time, relying entirely on his own talent and strength, overwhelmed Minato Namikaze. Even without the Sharingan, Chiba's talent is quite powerful. Uchiha Masaki continued to ask, by the way, Fugaku, who is the transfer student you mentioned? Uchiha Fugaku thought for a while. It seems to be Uzumaki Kushina. Uchiha Masaki's expression froze. Uchiha Fugaku noticed that Uchiha Masaki's expression was not right, and asked curiously, Father, is this Uzumaki Kushina special? Uchiha Masaki's expression changed, and after a moment of silence, he said, Fugaku, you will definitely inherit my mantle and become the next clan leader in the future, so it's time for you to know some things. This Uzumaki Kushina is indeed very special. She is very important to Konoha. You should know that Lord Mito is the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki, right? Uchiha Fugaku nodded seriously and said, well, I know. Father once told me that the person who is possessed by the tailed beast and becomes a container is the Jinchuriki. The Jinchuriki is often regarded as the military power of a country. Uchiha Masaki continued, yes, Lord Mito, whose full name is Uzumaki Mito, also has red hair. You should have guessed it, right? Uchiha Fugaku's face also changed. Could it be that Uzumaki Kushina is the Jinchuriki? Uchiha Masaki shook his head and said, no, but it's almost the same. Uzumaki Kushina is the container of the second Nine-Tails. This is a secret of Konoha. No one knows about this except high-level people like me. Lady Mito is already very old, and she doesn't have much time left, so Konoha must consider the matter of a new Jinchuriki, and Uzumaki Kushina, who is also from the Uzumaki clan, is that person. Fugaku, let me ask you another question, do Chiba and Uzumaki Kushina have a good relationship? Uchiha Fugaku answered very confidently, yes. He has a very good relationship with Uzumaki Kushina. Uchiha Masaki sighed, then there is no chance. Uchiha Fugaku was puzzled and said, "What's wrong with father?" Uchiha Masaki replied, "Fugaku, the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki will always be Konoha's Nine-Tails Jinchuriki, and it is impossible for any ninja family to get involved. Chiyu has a good relationship with the future Nine-Tails Jinchuriki, and the Hokage did not stop him, and even let Orochimaru, one of the three ninjas, become his teacher. This means that Chiyu will never come back to the Uchiha clan, even if we agree and Chiyu is willing." Uchiha Masaki was very upset about letting a member of the clan who opened the Sharingan and had excellent talents wander outside. Uchiha Fugaku saw it more clearly than his father. Uchiha Fugaku felt that even if the Uchiha clan agreed, Chiyu would not be willing to return to the Uchiha clan. Otherwise, Chiyu would not break the arms of Uchiha Yuto and Uchiha Izuma. Chiyu would do this and directly show his Sharingan, which means that he is very likely no longer worried about the problems between the Uchiha and him. In Uchiha Fugaku's opinion, Chiyu and the Uchiha clan may never reconcile. Chapter 38. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. Uchiha Fugaku felt that Chiyu and Uchiha would never be able to reconcile, but Uchiha Masaki didn't think so. As the patriarch of the Uchiha clan, Uchiha Masaki already had a good overall view, but Uchiha Masaki would still subconsciously think about the problem from the perspective of Konoha's #1 ninja clan. Uchiha Masaki felt that as long as the Uchiha clan, as the #1 ninja clan in Konoha, extended an olive branch to Chiyu, Chiyu had no reason to refuse. Uchiha Masaki rubbed his temples, constantly estimating the value of Chiyu in his mind. The more he thought about it, the more Uchiha Masaki felt that Chiyu's value was very great. It was not because of Chiyu's talent and strength, but because of Chiyu's identity, a true Hokage, strongly cultivated by Sarutobi Hiruzen, and a disciple of Orochimaru, one of the three ninjas. Now the Uchiha clan is completely isolated, and no one is willing to play with him, including Sarutobi Hiruzen, at present. The Uchiha clan, except for a Konoha guard, is completely separated from the power center of Konoha. If Chiba can become the core figure of the Hokage faction, maybe the Uchiha clan can build a bridge of communication with Sarutobi Hiruzen, but the premise is that Chiba has no conflicts with the Uchiha clan, and has a good impression of the Uchiha clan and is willing to work for the Uchiha clan. Uchiha Masaki thought for a long time, and Uchiha Fugaku did not disturb his father, based on Uchiha Fugaku's understanding of his father. Uchiha Fugaku could also guess what his father was thinking. After thinking for a long time, Uchiha Masaki said to Uchiha Fugaku, "Fugaku, tomorrow you go to Orochimaru's base to find Chiba, and bring the scroll of our Uchiha clan's fire escape ninjutsu and the experience of using the Sharingan." Uchiha Fugaku sighed imperceptibly. It is indeed the case, Uchiha Fugaku said to his old father who still had illusions, "Father, you just said that Chiyu will never return to the Uchiha clan. Is there any sense in doing this?" Uchiha Masaki said firmly, "It makes sense, because I didn't intend to let him come back to our Uchiha. He can't come back. The purpose of doing this is just to make him feel good about Uchiha and not be hostile to our Uchiha clan. As long as he continues to grow like this, it is almost certain that he will become the core ninja of the Hokage series, and he will always have half of the Uchiha blood in his body. I said this, Fugaku, you should be able to understand it, right?" Uchiha Fugaku understood Uchiha Masaki's idea. However, he felt that it was a bit difficult to make Chiyu feel good about the Uchiha clan. After all, the hatred for so many years cannot be wiped out by a ninjutsu scroll and a copy of the experience of using the Sharingan, but he also knew his father's temper, and he couldn't stop what he had decided. Uchiha Fugaku nodded and said, "I understand, father." Uchiha Masaki nodded and said, "Well, Fugaku, you have to work harder. Don't be outdone by a foreigner who only has half Uchiha blood." Uchiha Fugaku felt bitter after hearing this. He also wanted to open the Sharingan, and he didn't want to be outdone by Chiba, who only had half Uchiha blood. But what could he do if the Sharingan just wouldn't open? Opening the Sharingan is not something that can be opened by hard work. There is no direction to work hard at all. The next day, Chiyu got up before dawn as usual. Orochimaru still hadn't come back, but Orochimaru said that he would take him to the contracted Ryuchi cave today, so he should be back today. Chiyu came to the training ground of the underground base and started today's training. After training alone for 2 or 3 hours, Chiyu suddenly felt that the barrier outside the base was triggered. A barrier was set up around Orochimaru's base, and Orochimaru could feel it as long as it was triggered. For convenience, Orochimaru also gave Chiyu authority, and Chiyu would feel it when it was triggered. Chiyu took a towel to wipe the sweat off his face, and walked out of the base, muttering, "Are you here to see Teacher Orochimaru?" That when Chiyu walked out of the base gate, his eyes narrowed immediately. Seeing the familiar Uchiha clan emblem, Chinyu crossed his arms, leaned against the door, looked at Uchiha Fugaku, and said sarcastically, "TSK, you really came to find me. You are worthy of being the Uchiha clan. You are really vindictive. What happened last night? You came to my door this morning, but, since you are here to arrest me, isn't it inappropriate to let you, a little brat, come to find me? Where are your Konoha guard members? Shouldn't they be the ones to arrest me, the criminal who hurt the noble Uchiha?" Hearing Chinyu's sarcasm, Uchiha Fugaku's face suddenly darkened. "Little brat? He is obviously younger than him. What qualifications do you have to call him a little brat?" Uchiha Fugaku bowed and said, "Chiyu, you misunderstood. I'm here on behalf of the Uchiha clan to apologize to you for the trouble Yuto and Kazuma caused you yesterday." Chiyu frowned, but soon relaxed, still speaking in a sarcastic tone. "Oh. When I first came to Konoha, I was bullied by the Uchiha people. At that time, I didn't see you come to apologize to me, but now you are quite fast. Let me guess, is this the reason?" Chiyu pointed to the base. The owner of this underground base is Orochimaru, and the meaning is self-evident. It is because of Orochimaru that they came to apologize. If Orochimaru alone is definitely not enough to make the arrogant Uchiha apologize, but the weight of the person behind Orochimaru is enough. Sarutobi Hiruzen, Uchiha Fugaku's heart tightened. He found that this kid in front of him, who is younger than him, is a bit difficult to deal with. And Uchiha Fugaku is now very clear that it is almost impossible to make Chiyu feel good about the Uchiha clan. Uchiha Fugaku also got to the point. "Chinyu, our apology is sincere. This is the Uchiha clan's fire escape ninjutsu and the experience of using the Sharingan as a token of our sincerity to apologize to you." Uchiha Fugaku threw 2 scrolls over. Chinyu caught the scrolls and weighed them. "It seems that part of the reason for the apology is my Sharingan. I thought that seeing that I have opened my eyes, you would shamelessly let me return to the Uchiha clan. It seems that you still have some brains." Uchiha Fugaku lowered his head slightly, his cheeks slightly flushed. If it weren't for Uzumaki Kushina, his father Uchiha Masaki might really let Chiyu return to the Uchiha clan. Uchiha Fugaku bowed and said, "Since Chiyu, you have accepted the apology of our Uchiha clan, I will take my leave first." Just as Uchiha Fugaku was about to turn around and leave, Chiyu suddenly said, "Wait, you seem to be talking too much to yourself. Did I say I accept your apology?" Uchiha Fugaku frowned and looked at Chinyu, not understanding what Chinyu meant. Chinyu's next move immediately made Uchiha Fugaku furious, because Chinyu was holding the 2 scrolls. Lightning flashed, and the high temperature directly ignited the 2 scrolls, turning them into ashes. Chinyu looked at Uchiha Fugaku sarcastically and said word by word, "I don't accept your apology, Uchiha." Chapter 39. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. Uchiha Fugaku was about to explode when he saw Chiyu actually burn the 2 scrolls directly. Although these 2 scrolls were only copies, they were also very precious. The scroll that recorded the fire escape ninjutsu recorded the fire escape ninjutsu passed down from generation to generation by the Uchiha clan. Fire escape, great fireball technique, fire escape, great fire extinguishment, fire escape, dragon flame song technique and other fire escape ninjutsu were all recorded. Although the fire escape, great fireball technique is widely circulated in the ninja world, the great fireball technique released by the Uchiha clan and the great fireball technique released by others can be said to be very different. The truly precious one is the scroll that records the experience of using the Sharingan. It records in detail the experience of using the single to 3 Magatama Sharingan, which is an extremely precious treasure for the Uchiha clan. However, Chiyu didn't appreciate it, and he actually burned it directly. Isn't this a slap in the face of Uchiha? Uchiha Fugaku's chest rose and fell rapidly, and he glared at Chiyu with an angry face. Chiyu was still leaning against the door frame, looking at Uchiha Fugaku with a sarcastic expression. Uchiha Fugaku took several deep breaths to calm himself down. Uchiha Fugaku said calmly, "Since you are unwilling to accept the kindness of our Uchiha clan, then I'm sorry to bother you." Uchiha Fugaku turned and left. Chiyu stared at Uchiha Fugaku's back. Chiyu felt that the Uchiha in front of him was very different from the other Uchiha. He did this in front of him, but he was still so calm. If it were any other Uchiha, he might have taken action directly. Moreover, the other party was able to apologize to him alone on behalf of the Uchiha clan, so his status should not be low. Chiyu asked, "Hey, what's your name?" "Uchiha Fugaku." After Uchiha Fugaku stopped and said his name, he left without looking back. Chiyu's mouth curled up. Uchiha Fugaku, the future patriarch of the Uchiha clan, the father of Uchiha Itachi and Uchiha Sasuke. The sarcasm on Chiyu's face became more obvious. "You really gave birth to two good sons." In Shinyu's eyes, Uchiha Itachi's future act of slaughtering the clan was not justice at all. Uchiha Itachi chose to sacrifice a small number of people in order to protect more people, which seemed to be very just, but the target of Uchiha Itachi's slaughter was not other people, it was his clansmen, his blood relatives. Uchiha Itachi was loyal to Konoha. The Uchiha clan rebelled. He chose to wipe out the Uchiha clan for the righteousness of Konoha, which was indeed justice for Konoha, but for the Uchiha clan, for those clansmen who still trusted him and were waiting for him to fight for the future together. Uchiha Itachi was a traitor. This was a sin. The involvement of blood made this sin even more sinful. If Uchiha Itachi only slaughtered those Uchiha clan members who chose to rebel or killed Uchiha Sasuke together, Chinyu might have looked up to him, but Uchiha Itachi did not. Uchiha Itachi, together with Uchiha Obito, killed all women, old and young. Kill them all. As a member of the Uchiha clan, he chose to exterminate his own clan. The reason why he left Uchiha Sasuke behind was not to leave offspring for the Uchiha clan, but because he did not want to see his beloved brother die. After Uchiha Itachi carried out the extermination of the clan, the only condition was to save the life of his brother Uchiha Sasuke, and he would provide intelligence for Konoha. This behavior directly turned Uchiha Itachi's extermination of the clan into a joke. In Chiyu's view, Uchiha Itachi was a hypocrite who was brainwashed by the will of fire and was blindly loyal to Konoha. Uchiha Itachi's behavior was not justice at all, but a stupid guy who was willing to be a pawn of others and thought he was on the side of justice. It is really a hopeless clan that can destroy itself without anyone else's help, but Uchiha Sasuke, is still interesting. Just when Chiyu was about to go back to the base to continue training, Orochimaru's voice came from the side, "Really smart, Chiyu." Chinyu looked in the direction where the voice came from, and found Orochimaru leaning against a tree, looking at him with a smile on his face. Chinyu also smiled, and said to Orochimaru, "Since the other party has given it to me for free, there is no reason not to take it." The Uchiha clan's fire escape ninjutsu and Sharingan training experience are very helpful to me. Two scrolls appeared in Chinyu's hands again. The two scrolls that Chinyu had just burned were just two blank scrolls that Chinyu took out of the ninja tool bag. When Uchiha Fugaku was about to turn around and leave, Chinyu quickly switched them, and then when Uchiha Fugaku's sight was not on the scroll, he directly ignited the scroll with the high temperature of lightning, creating the illusion that Chinyu burned the scroll very disrespectfully. Orochimaru walked up to Chinyu with his arms folded in front of him. "Aren't you worried that Uchiha will cause trouble for you in the future?" Chinyu put the two scrolls away again, smiled brightly at Orochimaru. "I'm not worried at all. Don't we still have teacher Orochimaru, and Uchiha Fugaku came to me on behalf of the Uchiha clan to apologize, which means that the situation of the Uchiha clan is quite bad, and they want to use me to establish a connection with teacher Orochimaru." Orochimaru chuckled and said, "Hehe, you are very perceptive about the situation, but what you actually want to say is that Uchiha wants to invest in your future and establish a connection with the Hokage who is my teacher." Chiyu laughed and said, "Teacher Orochimaru, I didn't say that." Orochimaru didn't say anything else and walked towards the underground base. "Let's go, I've been very busy recently. After taking you to the contract with the Ryuchi cave today and helping you make a training plan for this period of time, I will not be back for a while." Chiyu followed Orochimaru to the office. Orochimaru explained to Chiyu, "The summoning technique is a spacetime ninjutsu that the caster summons the summoned beast after signing a blood contract relationship with it. because a blood contract is to be made with the summoned beast, blood must be used as a medium to let the summoned beast know who is summoning it. The signatory leaves blood marks on the blood contract, and once the summoned beast is authenticated, it can be summoned. Therefore, when summoning, the palm of the hand is usually stained with blood, and the chakra and blood are concentrated on the hand that signed the contract to be used as a summoning medium. Then there are the seals. The seals of the summoning technique are Hai, Su, Yu, Shen, and Wei. The strength of the summoned beast depends on the amount of chakra consumed. The more chakra is consumed, the more powerful the summoned beast can be. The above is an explanation of the summoning technique. I will demonstrate the summoning technique now. Orochimaru bit his finger, let the blood from his finger flow across his right palm, and then he made a seal. Psychic art. A puff of smoke appeared, and when the smoke dissipated, a large blue snake appeared in front of Chinyu. Chapter 40. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. Orochimaru personally demonstrated the summoning technique and summoned a blue snake. The blue snake spoke in human language and lowered its head to face Orochimaru. Lord Orochimaru. Orochimaru said to the blue snake, take out the contract scroll. The blue snake opened its mouth, and its belly squirmed, and it spit out the scroll of the contract with Ryuchidong. Orochimaru looked at Chinyu and said, open the scroll, write your name in blood, and then press the blood handprint with your dominant hand, so that you will successfully sign a contract with Ryuchidong. Chinyu opened the sticky contract scroll. The last name was Orochimaru, and Chinyu didn't recognize any of the previous names. Chinyu bit his finger, signed his name on the contract scroll, and then pressed his blood handprint. After signing the contract, Chinyu closed the scroll and handed it to the blue snake. The blue snake swallowed the contract scroll back into its stomach and said, Master Orochimaru, Master Chiyu, I will go back to the Ryuchi cave first. Another puff of smoke enveloped the blue snake. After the smoke dissipated, the blue snake had disappeared. Then Orochimaru threw a scroll to Chiyu. Orochimaru introduced to Chiyu, my secret techniques are recorded here. You can practice by yourself. If you encounter something you don't understand, write it down first. I will come back every half a month and tell me the problems you encounter, and I will answer them for you. Then Orochimaru began to formulate Chiyu's next training plan, continue the physical fitness and reaction training in the morning as usual, and change it in the afternoon. You don't need to continue to practice those low-level ninjutsu, since you have obtained the fire escape ninjutsu of the Uchiha clan, then you will study the fire escape ninjutsu next. I just looked at the fire escape ninjutsu in the scroll. The Great Fire Dragon technique and the Great Fire Extinguishment require you to master the form and nature changes of fire attribute chakra. You already have experience in practicing the form and nature changes of lightning attribute chakra, so I won't teach you anymore. You can find a way to master it yourself, then you need to practice the summoning technique in the afternoon. After you have mastered the summoning technique thoroughly, you can switch to practicing my secret technique. In short, you can allocate your time well. Orochimaru was still very relieved for Chiyu. Chiyu was very hardworking and self-disciplined in her practice, and she didn't need Orochimaru to urge her at all. Although the training task has become heavier, Chinyu is full of energy. If he continues to practice according to this training plan, he will definitely achieve a breakthrough. Okay, you can start practicing on your own. I have something else to do, so I'll leave first. If you need to find me urgently, you can go directly to the Hokage building, or after you master the summoning technique, the snake in the summoning dragon cave will be able to find me. Yes, Master Orochimaru. After Orochimaru left, Chinyu immediately began to practice according to the new training plan, Uchiha clan land. After Uchiha Fugaku came back, he immediately found his father Uchiha Masaki. Uchiha Masaki saw his son coming back and immediately asked, Fugaku, how is it? Chiyu must have accepted the 2 scrolls and the Uchiha's goodwill, right? That before Uchiha Fugaku could speak, Uchiha Masaki said to himself, he must have been staring blankly. That is the fire escape ninjutsu passed down from generation to generation in the Uchiha clan. Even Orochimaru can't do it. Plus the more precious experience of using the Sharingan, he must be grateful to our Uchiha clan. Uchiha Fugaku replied with a grim expression, no, father, Chiyu did not accept our goodwill, he burned the 2 scrolls. Uchiha Masaki was stunned, his expression kept changing. Uchiha Masaki couldn't believe it and asked Uchiha Fugaku again, "You said he burned the scrolls?" Uchiha Fugaku nodded, "Yes, he also said that he doesn't accept our Uchiha's apology." Uchiha Masaki angrily slammed his fist on the table, the whole table was smashed to pieces. "He is an abandoned child abandoned by our Uchiha, why? Who does he think he is? He is not even on the side of the Hokage." Uchiha Masaki's face turned red with anger, and the veins on his neck were stiff. Uchiha Fugaku was furious. After all, the Uchiha clan is also the largest ninja clan. Even if Chinyu does not accept the apology, there is no need to treat him in such a humiliating way. The atmosphere in the room became silent, with only the heavy breathing of Uchiha Masaki. After a long time, Uchiha Masaki finally recovered. Although Uchiha Masaki was angry, he was still very calm. After all, if he was not calm, he would not be able to be the clan leader. Uchiha Masaki said coldly, "Since Chinyu is shameless, don't bother with him. Fugaku, there is one thing you need to do." Next. Uchiha Fugaku nodded and said, "Father, please speak." Uchiha Masaki said seriously, "I will open another clan meeting tomorrow to restrain the clan members. You will monitor them afterwards, especially those troublemakers. You must keep an eye on them. Once you find that they have done something out of line, report to me immediately and I will deal with them. The Uchiha clan must start to change from now on. If it is delayed any longer, things may reach a point where they are out of control. Fugaku, I assert that there will be turmoil in the ninja world within a year, and Konoha will definitely need the power of our Uchiha clan by then. This war is an opportunity for everyone in Konoha to change their views on the Uchiha clan. The Uchiha clan can no longer be so arrogant. You also know what kind of people the clan members are. If the Uchiha clan wins the war, they may look down on others in the future, so changes must be made now. Otherwise, after the war, it may be time for the Hokage to settle accounts with the Uchiha clan. There is not much time left for the Uchiha clan. The foundation of the Uchiha clan must not be destroyed in our hands." Uchiha Fugaku responded solemnly, "I know, father, I will monitor it." After Uchiha Fugaku left, Uchiha Masaki was still brooding over Chiyu and was very angry, but Uchiha Masaki couldn't touch Chiyu. Chiyu is now protected not only by Orochimaru, but also by Sarutobi Hiruzen and even Uzumaki Mito. When Chiyu just returned to Konoha, Uzumaki Mito proposed to adopt Chiyu, but was rejected by Sarutobi Hiruzen. Chiyu is also a member of the Senju clan, so Uzumaki Mito will definitely protect Chiyu. Chiyu no longer takes the Uchiha clan seriously. When he grows up and becomes a member of the Hokage faction, won't he target the Uchiha clan everywhere?